Welcome back, everybody, to Legion Labs. I'm your host, JR, and today we got Jose and Nick. How's it going, guys?
Yo.
Good. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. So this week, first off, if you missed last week's episode, that's because my computer's having issues and I was not able to get that loaded up. I didn't try to do it all last week, and it was just too late. So this week, if you're seeing it, that means we figured it out. But yeah, I need a new computer or I need to figure out what happened. I think the main thing is that when I go to convert the file into an MP4 format, my computer just crashes for some reason, and I have no idea what's causing it to crash. Um, but with that being said, we got lots of info to go over. Worlds happened last weekend, and a lot of stuff got announced, so I'm excited to go over it. But before we go there, we all went to LVO and we talked about our experience there, but there's one Legion lad we did not get his experience, and we wanted to talk about that. Nick, this was your first year going to LVO. Is this your first time going to a big tournament?
Yeah, that was my first time going to anything other than local in anything before. Yeah. Yeah.
Right on, right on. Did you have fun? Was it a good experience?
Yeah, no, it was. It was a great experience. I had a lot of fun for
Yeah.
sure.
So Jose, I know you wanted to ask some questions, so go for it, my man.
Sweet, sweet. First big tournament experience. We've all been there with JR. JR went, was pioneer of all this, got us all hooked, and then we were freaking ecstatic to have you be like, "Hey, I want to go." So, what did you think of your very first LVO in general?
So it was just very smooth. I'll say that. So the tournament itself, the venue, I'm not a traveler. I don't go places. So going places is I like to know where to go, what to do, find things, and that was all very easy. So I would say that. So definitely for someone for a first time, LVO was very easy to navigate.
I want to, I
And
want sorry, I want to interject here,
sure.
Nick, because I remember always asking you, like, you gonna come to LVO, you gonna come to LVO, and you always told me just like, I'm just not big on that. Like, I'm not big on going to big tournaments and crowds like that. What changed your mind?
Um, I guess I wanted to try it. I wanted to try it, sure. Um, Going with a group helps for sure as well. So not going alone. Um, and I started miniature gaming when I was like 10. So, it's been a long time coming to finally like go to something. So yeah, I wanted to try it, and I'm glad I did because, like I said, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. The atmosphere was great. All the players were great. So that's why I really appreciate it. It ran very well, very smooth.
Cool, cool. So into the whole funness, you got to tell us overall experience. It could be the event, it could be the vendor hall, it could be food, hanging out with the guys late at night. What was your favorite part of the event?
Ooh, favorite part.
You do more than
Yeah,
one.
okay, yeah. I mean, so I did enjoy like I said, enjoy the games. I had good opponents. I wasn't going in thinking I was gonna win anything. Um, I brought Grogu, so I
The
was not
only
gonna
Grogu.
the only Grogu. I think safe to say the only Grogu ever in a competitive tournament. Um, so so that was fun because like I said, I've played a lot of games and sometimes it's not fun. Sometimes you don't, it's just you need to run some bad seeds now and then. But I think that's one thing that the Legion community really steps up is that the players are, the high majority are all great players to play with. So playing those 6 games, I had no complaints through any of them. They were all fun games. So that's very nice to have that be your first experience. And then hanging out, going out afterwards. That's always fun. I don't do that very often, if ever. so um, so that was a lot of fun to do.
Sweet. So in the tournament aspect, were there any funny or wild in-game moments like Grogu dropping somebody with like a hand thing or some just something that sticks out that was like, I can't believe I'm doing this. Or I can't believe this happened. Or maybe somebody kidnapped your baby, you killed them, got your baby back. Anything of note?
Probably the games more where Mano just blinked out on his saves and they took the baby. I mean, that happened in a couple of games where he just I mean, I rolled, he got like attacked twice. I rolled like 7 dice and he was dead, on like turn 2 as well. So it
Wow.
was, yeah. So, but it's other games were okay, but I had a few games that were like that, and that definitely stood out. Um, my last game stood out too. That was a very close game, and it was a hostage, and it came down to the very last die roll, one die roll on Luke, on my OP Luke,
Yeah.
with 1 wound left, and if I roll the save, I win. If I don't roll it, I lose, and I rolled the save and I won. So that stood out.
Hey, that's what's up.
Man, you noticed that event, um Mando, Boba, Vader, Anakin, we all had those games where it's like, yep, he was floored in one roll. It was bad.
Yeah,
And
that's kind of how it goes sometimes. So I was 3-3, and the 3 games I won, he made his saves. Like he actually like lived, through the games. And the 3 games I lost, like, I didn't lose the games because of those dice rolls, but definitely didn't make it very plausible to win because of
yeah.
those dice rolls. It really snowballs if he goes down quickly in my list, because that's a victory point too for the opponent. So with those games when he just blanked out, that was that, not gonna be able to come back from that.
I gotta say,
So,
like, definitely gotta give you props for bringing Grogu because, like, I'm on the side that I don't think any character in Legion should be a double-edged sword. Like, I hate all the characters that have a flaw card. I think we should get rid of them because it should feel good to play the character that you want to play without having some sort of drawback.
I don't mind drawbacks. But the victory points probably too much for the price. 17 points to give you a victory point. And his ability, maybe it goes off. It's very low odds, and sometimes even when it does, like, I've had it go off. It's like, oh, I really hope get the immobilized, but I get like the heal. And I haven't taken a wound yet, so it's like, oh well, that didn't do anything. But I got a suppression for it. So yeah, it's probably just too many points for that. But drawbacks are okay. I'm okay with drawbacks.
the flaw cards need to go. That's dinosaur technology from the FFG days. They're not even printing flaw cards for any other characters. AMG needs to do right by the people and just get rid of them. If
Hey,
they get rid of the flaw cards, I'll say Grogu needs a reduction in points as well. I'll meet you halfway, Nick.
hey, CIS is the only faction that doesn't have a flaw card, so I'm pretty happy about that.
All right, so being the only guy to bring Grogu to a competitive event, I'm pretty sure you'd had some did anybody, like, you bring out your army and you set up your table, you bring out your army and people are like, okay, cool, here's Gar for the 20th time, here's CIS for the 15th time, Shadow Collective, when you brought out Grogu, was there ever a moment where somebody was like, the hell?
Oh yeah, yeah, that happened a couple times. Um, that happened with the people next to us. the guy, the guy said, he's like, because I had Jin. He's like, you brought Jin, you brought Pathfinders, you brought Grogu. So they they were kind of surprised by my list for sure. So yeah, that happened a couple times. They were not, definitely not expecting it. But yeah, I'm sure it was nice to get a little different flavor. And I played it against all factions. When on my list, I played against every single faction, including Shadow Collective. So that was kind of fun. I got a mixture of everything.
Did you find out
you
there's one faction really good that you went against your list, and then one that wasn't really good against your list?
Um, the more the gun lines was better, and anything that was more gun line, maybe not so much faction, but how they built their list, the gun line was better. Especially with some of the tables around, there wasn't much
Yes.
line of sight blocking at all. And my list was purely built on Luke and Din going into their army, so I had to get them across the board.
Mhm.
Grogu made an impression. I mean, you got a shout out on a Stabcast. And I was hilarious. I don't know if you heard the episode, but Ryan's like, so I'm playing Nick, and he's part of the Legion lads. He's like, so I guess I'm facing all of California. And like, oh, what did he bring? He's like, this guy had the cojones. He brought Din and Grogu, and Ben's all, ew, why? But you did manage to be a memorable opponent in that aspect. And I can imagine if somebody came and dropped like a Grogu on a table across from him at competitive, I'm like, okay, so he's obviously here to have fun. But you did make an impression on people. We were joking around when we got to LVO, like, what's the under over that Nick's the only one that brought Grogu, and I flat out said you were probably the only one. A couple of other guys was like, oh, you might not be the only one, but yeah, you were the only one.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, gosh, any tournament that size, if you're out there, let us know if you brought a Grogu, because I don't know if I don't think anyone does. I mean, no one plays them. No one plays them. It's funny actually to hear sometimes individuals talk about Grogu and then they talk about the card and they don't even really know what the card does, and they like, because they don't know, anything about him.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Did you catch
Secret
anybody
weapon.
off guard when you played Hand Thing or Grogu in general?
I think I did once, and it worked out pretty well. But gosh, the other few times I played it,
Hmm.
they blanked out. That's the one rule they blanked out on. I play the card, and they don't get any hits, and it's like, oh darn. Then like the next shot, it's like, oh, there's 10 hits, and it's like, oh, okay, good.
All right, so to wrap up your LVO experience, sounds like you had a great time. Sounds like taking a fun list in a competitive event is really your style and how you prefer to do things. Will you be going back to LVO, if even if not for Legion, for anything else? I know MCP's picking up pace. I know Shatterpoint's picking up pace. I mean, was the event good enough to where you could be like, yeah, I might do this again, even if it's something completely different?
Yeah, no, definitely. No, I'll go next year for sure. For sure.
Heck yes.
Hey,
We
I'm
got
with
one, boy.
I'm with Nick. Free Grogu. Grogu should be 0 points. Like
0 points.
he's not competitive. He's really not. It's just like even at 0 points, he's not competitive. It's just too much of a double-edged sword. But yeah. So
Especially when it comes to the releases and some of the 0 point things that we're seeing.
we're gonna get into
Grogu had
that.
to pay
We're,
points.
we're
Yeah.
gonna get into that for sure. We're gonna get into that. That's okay. Well, Nick, I'm glad you came, man. I had a blast with you, and I'm glad you had a good time because this is becoming one of my favorite trips to do every year. Is just go with the boys and kick some
The
butt at
lad
Legion.
wagon.
Yeah, just have a good time. So, but all right, guys, moving on. We're gonna go into all the announcement that AMG have announced, and I got some strong opinions about this, and I hope you guys do too. First, we're gonna go into the range troopers. They announced some information. It looks like I think they cost what 60 points. Am I reading that right?
60 point.
Yeah, 60.
You can have a heavy personnel slot, grenades, and a comms link. They are courage 2. They roll red defense die. They have 1 health. There's 4 in a squad. It's a support rank, which is huge. They shoot range 1 to 4, which is also huge. 1 black, and then their melee is 2 white. They don't surge up or down. The keywords that they have are advanced targeting, Trooper 1, and I believe whenever you target somebody, you get an aim for that keyword Trooper, I believe.
Correct.
They have Armor 1, which is nice. They have Indomitable, Scale. No one cared about Scale. I don't know why they slapped this on people.
We're
They
getting
have
a rework, bro.
It-
We're getting a
it's-
rework.
It's just a save space so they don't have to type unhindered and expert climber.
probably. They Spur, which is important because they are only speed 1. I think their personnel upgrade is just a single guy, which is 15 points. You add another guy. Then their heavy is a 1 to 4, 2 blacks, 2 whites, and it's suppressive. And then the other one's range 1 to 5, 2 reds, and looks like just impact 1, I'm gonna assume.
Impact 2.
2.
Oh, impact 2. Okay. I can't see it because there's a camera in the way. But yeah, what do you guys think?
Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, tell me why do you think these guys are really good?
These guys are really good. These guys are really, really good. The point cost, they're practically the same cost as Shores with the gun.
Mhm.
I think they're 4 or 5 more points, but everything's range 4. So, and they're courage 2, and they have armor, and they have abdominal, and they get a free aim without needing an order. they're amazing. Plus suppressive. I mean, I comparing these guys to Pathfinders, way better. My Pathfinders can't shoot this well, and they have white saves, and they pretty much cost about the same amount of points almost. Um, trying to think of other like comparisons, and may not be a comparison that's 1-to-1, but IG-11. IG-11 is supposed to be a range 4, unit that could shoot armor 1, he's more points, and he shoots way worse than these guys. It just, yeah, so this unit, they're really, really good, which I don't mind. That it's okay to make good units, and this is a good one.
My opinion on them is that I agree with you. I think they look good and pretty solid. I like that they're a support unit. I don't think it's gonna be that great if you build the tables like I want people to build the tables, which is line of sight blockers, right? I was talking to John about this a while back. It's like if you put good line of sight blockers in there, these guys should be able to just move and peek at range 4 and just like have to maneuver to get there. Not the tables that we saw at LVO where they're so open. It's just like I could just sit here and just shoot while you go to the objective. Like I don't like that. That's not fun to me. But um range 4 is pretty solid, and these guys are throwing what 6 blacks, 2 whites. And I think that's the gun you would prefer, the suppressive one. I don't know if you want. I don't. How much is the impact one? I can't see it on here.
It's
The impact
25.
one is 25.
25.
And then the other one's what 28.
Yeah.
So 3
Yep.
points more. I feel like you take that over the other one, the impact one.
Yeah, I mean the two red's pretty good. I mean the other one's 2 black, 2 white, but gosh, 2 white dice, that's usually 2 blanks for me when I roll them. So
Yeah, and there's no third conversion.
having 2 red at range 5 with impact, I think it's kind of a toss up, right? Because when you have the impact, you're gonna really love that if there's a vehicle across the table, right? And then if they don't have a vehicle, you're gonna wish you brought the suppressive gun. So it's kind of like the generator thing, right? It's a generator choice, but on a trooper unit, which way do you want to go?
I'm looking at the debt troopers right now. They're 72 points. So there's still. I don't know. I feel like he still takes debt troopers over these guys.
Well, they're in
Really?
a different slot. Death Troopers are special forces. These guys are support. So quick note on the advanced targeting. When you use advanced targeting, you don't get to form another die pool, so you can't split fire. So it's a concentrated blast.
I feel like you don't need to split fire with these guys.
No, but it's just you can't benefit off that if you needed to. Like you can't split fire the 4 dice somewhere else if you're gonna use advanced targeting.
Mhm.
I think they'll be good because that's kind of gonna be like the it's kind of gonna remind me, and Empire players are all different. It's kind of gonna be like the Staps and CIS where they're just in a slot and there's really nothing that's gonna be comparable or give you a better edge than them. Because let's face it, nobody's really taking dewbacks anymore. Because if you're running Vader, you're running him in Blizzard, and nobody takes E-webs. When's the last time you saw an E-web at the table? So I think they're competitively in a good spot to make that the one pick for that area, and they're just gonna pump out so much more damage than the dewback would. And you're not, and courage 2 means the spur is not going to hurt them as much. They're going to be able to just climb over everything, do things a normal unit wouldn't be able to. It's just a lot of flexibility.
Can you
Um,
spur? Can you spur on the climb?
Well, no, it's still
no.
climb is always speed 1 no matter what. So it doesn't matter if you
Yeah.
spur. Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
go ahead. Okay.
no, I was wondering if scale would factor into scale's just up, it's not speed, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Scale just
Yeah.
lets
Okay.
you go up to height 2. So they can climb to height 2.
Yeah.
Scale's so bad.
It's so bad.
This unit is just taking this unit naked at 60, I think is great. It's a unit that can shoot long range. It's a trooper. It can pick up their objectives. It's and the speed 1, they're basically speed 2. With Indomitable, you can encourage 2. You can spur all day, all game, and you're gonna roll red dice to take off your suppression. So there's almost no downside there.
Is Dell and Gideon locked into core only, or would these guys be able to put them in slot? because I think having a Dell or Gideon would just be great for them. Because then the courage goes up by 1, so the courage 3 now. So spur your heart away. You get 2 red at range 3 if you need to get in that range, and Dell would give you an extra black die and a pierce option. Because think about it, you're already using advanced
They're, they're,
targeting.
they're both
That's an
limited to
aim.
core, though. They're both limited to core.
Are they?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, okay. I was asking because
Yeah.
Echo and fives can go into core into arts.
Yeah.
Hammer's a little blurry.
Yeah.
I don't know, because like for 72 points, so what is that, 12 points more, you could take Death Troopers and they shoot a better, well, I don't think they shoot better at range 4. Yeah, they do shoot better at range 4 because they surge and suppressive, and they surge down. So you get the saves, which I think is better than Armor 1 in my opinion.
You think that the Death Troopers are? I think the upside to the these guys is going to be taking in sniper shots because you got the armor to plink that. Unless you're critting on that sniper shot, that armor is going to help you out tremendously. Where the Death Troopers just one dice goes through and you're losing them all.
I don't think Armor's going to do that much, but I mean, Pierce is still nasty for these guys. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's a nice addition. I think it's going to be fun to see these guys on the table. I like that it's support. So I would like to see 3 special forces, 3 of these guys, and then a full like stormtroopers. Like I think that would be a fun list to do.
Oh yeah.
But moving on, we got the Republic Commandos, the Clone Commandos. This one's blurry for me. So let me.
I got it.
Okay.
So the Clone Commandos, they're 75 point base. They come with gear slot. They come with a grenade slot. They come with a comm slot. They come with an armament, and they come with I forgot what that What's the V again? I didn't know this. They come with the training. So they come with complete the mission. So this is the one everybody was worried about because it's the one where you get to throw out the 3 tokens. So it says place a priority mission. Oh, 1 token. Sorry. Place priority mission token on the battlefield outside of any deployment zone. So any deployment zone, it could be your opponent's or yours. While this unit, the Clone Commandos, are at range 1 of the priority mission token, they gain surge to defense. While this unit attacks an enemy that is at range 1 of the priority token, the unit attack pool gains critical 2. They have equipped Katarn pattern armor. They have infiltrate, so infiltrate in the clones. Recharge 1, which is interesting because recharge 1 we've only seen on shields. And so that's kind of interesting. They get target 1 and they get shielded 1. So they're gonna have a recharging shield. But the other thing I was talking about in the chat was like we don't know what their armament is. So what if they have a like an energy rifle that needs to recharge? That would be kind of cool because then you have to choose. You only recharge 1, right? So you burn your shield and then you burn that weapon. Well, which one are you going to recharge?
Well,
add some state.
So recharge is usually attached to shield 1. When you spin the shield, you do the recover action and you get the shield back.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like if you had to choose, you get recharge 1. What if the armament is like an energy weapon? Because they said that the Clone Commandos are going to have like crazy weapons, like things we've never seen before. So what's one thing we haven't seen before? A recharging weapon. We have reloads, but we don't have like a anything that would use recharge. So it just seems like that could be an option because these guys have defensive tech. They come with the Katarn pattern armor, which is a one-time use ability, and I think this is kind of cool. When this unit would be assigned more than 1 wound token from a non-melee attack. So if they get shot with 100 hits, they can burn this armor to assign the unit only 1 wound. So even if you hit 100, you're only going to an energy armament. Now the recharge becomes a little more dicey because if you burn the Katarn armor, and you burn the shield and you burn that weapon, well, the Katarn armor is gone. So now you have to choose what's more important, the shield or the weapon that could be crazy statted for all we know.
But that's the thing is recharge is specifically for shields. Like if you were to recharge on the deflector shields, it says when you recover, flip 2 inactive shield tokens. So like unless the armament has some kind of shields mechanic on it, it's only going to be for the shield 1, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Oh, I'm just gonna say I'm very upset with this unit because why did why did they get complete the mission and not the Bad Batch? That is terrible. That should have been on the Bad Batch. I don't know why these guys got why they got that.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see these guys in action because, like I said, this is all going back to the table how I think it should be built. There's the line of sight blocking because you get these guys, as note, is range 1 to 2. Their guns. We don't know what the armaments are, but maybe it's range 1 to 3, 1 to 4. Like you could choose different ranges. But like these guys scream like infiltrate and then put the token. You infiltrate in that spot. You zone that area. You poke out. You shoot. And you return fire. In an open table, these guys are just dead on arrival, in my opinion.
The crazy thing to me is Grogu costs 17 points and this armor that eliminates 20 hits down to one. And then you knock it down to one and you pop your shield, like cool, I'm good.
I I think it was yeah, that was one thing that stuck out too. Interesting that it's zero.
Yeah.
Like why zero?
Yeah.
I mean,
So this is my theory,
The
because
armament's expensive.
well, there's a lot of things that are zero that they showed off, right? And I feel like this is just another way to put more text onto another card that doesn't fill up the main card. Because like this, the katana armor, power armor, theoretically could just fit on the card if there was more room, right? But since
sure.
there's not, it's just like, okay, let's just give them this.
There's an actual game reason why it's not though, because the katana armor is the gear slot. So you have the must equip the katana armor. This way you can't choose with emergency stims. That's why they did it. Because if the katana armor was built onto the card, then you would be able to fill that gear slot with e-stims. Now you'd
Well,
have
what I'm
shields,
saying is
armor,
like,
and e-stims.
what I'm saying is like, you just, in that case, if you could put it on the unit card, you just don't put the gear slot on there, right? Like you could just not do that. But I digress. I think that's why a lot of these things that we're seeing that are zero is just to put more text onto something and just like, hey, here you go. And it looks cool, right? It's cool to look at.
So the other thing that they haven't mentioned yet, or they mentioned but they haven't shown, is Delta Squad. So my hang up with this, I love the fact that they're an infiltrate unit. I do not love the fact that they are a four model unit. Like there's no heavy upgrade, no trooper upgrade. And I just got done playing Mandalorians against Nick here, and having four minis kind of just blows if you're not making saves. So I'm thinking the like Delta Squad being such an iconic unit within Star Wars lore, when they flip that card, they got to make it like 100 points and give them two wounds apiece because I don't know what are you gonna do different with Delta. It's gonna have a separate unit card.
Well, in the infiltrate's kind of wasted on this unit anyways. I mean, at least if you're just talking like about competitive play, clones clone armies aren't going to want to stick a unit, on the other side of the board, that can't then share tokens or do,
They don't. Or do they start tokens?
yeah, they're
Oh, that's
clone
the other guys.
troopers.
Yeah, my bad.
They're clone troopers. Yeah. So
I'm
I
jumping the gun here.
yeah, I feel like the infiltrate is kind of. I mean, it's fun, I suppose, just to play for fun, but like I don't think you'll really see these guys deploying anywhere far away from the army.
Yeah, I feel like that's why they have to complete the mission is because like then you can have critical two on your gun to shoot your enemies, and then you get surge to defend if you're in it. So I feel like these are zoning units that you want to zone out your opponent on objective, hopefully hinting at new objectives we're going to get because that'd be huge, right? But yeah, this screams to me like these don't want to stick with the army. They want to infiltrate behind like LOS blockers and just kind of like zone an area out from other people. Um, we'll see how it goes though. Moving on, we have a Bad Batch.
I
Okay.
called it. I'm gonna start
Okay.
right now. I
Okay.
called it.
Well, go read it off first. Read it off first.
So before I read it off, we were talking about predictions for the Bad Batch. I was the one maniac saying it's going to be the whole squad, and people were like, "What? That doesn't make sense. We don't have that." And my whole thing was, this is going to lay the groundwork for future squads in any. Let's just say not even an operative in any rank, preferably higher than core. Ghost crew could be special forces, and you'd get a ghost crew, Chopper, Hera, and all of them in like their own little bundle. But excited that I was right on that. I don't think it would have been very beneficial to have it be a one-man unit just because it's a Bad Batch. So you roll together, they go everywhere
Yeah.
together.
There's no
But
way this unit was not going to be all
Oh
together.
yeah.
the only thing that kind of caught me off guard is I wanted them to be like Echo and Fives, where if you're not going to run the unit, they still have their own addition because they all have their own upgrades. And so to be able to slot them into just your regular core, because one problem that clones have is you don't have enough options. When a clone guy rolls up, you know you're eating either a Z-sit or you're eating a RPS. There's no middle ground. And then some guys get crazy and do fives and echo and stuff like that. But having the Bad Batch be able to insert into the core units would give us the option that we don't have. We don't have a third core, and it would give us more
But
flexibility in heavy weapons.
that's the problem though, is that these guys roll together. They never
Yeah.
would fit into
Yeah,
an
I know.
And don't worry, nobody's going to play this in clones. This is a rebel unit, so you don't have to worry
No,
about
I'm
that.
playing it in clone. Me and Nick are gonna fight. We're just gonna put my Bad Batch and his Bad Batch in the corner.
Well,
And let's see who.
let's go over it. Okay.
All right, so
Go
so
ahead.
it's Bad Batch Clone Force 99. You only get to take a one of. They have the dot. They cost base 160. Their upgrades are 5 heavy weapons, which is of course the Bad Batch. They come with equip Hunter, Wrecker, Echo, Tech, and Crosshair. And then they come with Impervious, Scale, Steady, Sharpshooter 1, We're Not Regs. We're Not Regs is this unit may not spend green tokens on other clone trooper units, and other clone trooper units may not spend their green tokens. And the fire support keyword cannot be used with them, which I think makes a lot of sense when we get into the later aspect of it. Their melee is Advanced Combat Training, which is a single black die. They have
Red die.
Red die. Yeah.
it's black on the picture. Did they change it?
No, it's red.
Oh, is it red? Oh, it's red.
Yeah.
Okay, I bet blurry photo. And then you get the trusty DC-17 hand blaster, which is similar to what the Arcs have, which is a black white at range 2. They are 2 health per mini, which is awesome. This is a 10 health. This is, I think, I believe, I might be wrong. This is the first 10 health mini that's not a tank, a heavy unit. That's an actual 10 health trooper unit altogether. Courage 3. And then they come with, they revealed 2 upgrades. So you have Hunter, which is add 1 Hunter miniature. It's a free action. Choose a non-commander or operative trooper unit at range 1. And in line of sight, roll a black die. On a hit or a crit result, the unit suffers 1 wound. So it's pretty much you're rolling on a force choke, which could be good and it could be bad. I mean, the upside is you get a free mini down. The worst side is you just wasted time rolling a free action or a free ability. The next one I'm not too thrilled about. I had some things I think can maybe get a shot, but with cover being as prominent as it is, I don't think you're ever going to shoot this guy on your own. But it's Crosshair. He's range 1 to 5. He's a single red die. And when the attack pool contains only that weapon against critical 1. But it has 3 separate keywords that I think lend to the Bad Batch suit of high velocity, pierced 1, and precise 1. And then lastly, Nick doesn't have to worry about giving up another victory point when he runs them in Rebels because Omega is not a victory token. This is what I think is weird. So Omega comes with I'm part of the squad too. It's a 1 hit point model. But it says Omega does not have to be assigned wounds or be defeated due to the counterpart keyword. While Omega is on the battlefield, the Bad Batch may use claim, sabotage, and repair actions when she is in base contact with the objective token as if she was the unit leader. Any claimed objective tokens are still placed in base contact with the Bad Batch. So here's the thing. You have to take Omega because if you do not take Omega, the Bad Batch cannot help with claiming a supply box, repairing a VAT. They specifically are going to need to take Omega to take part in these actions.
Why?
No. It's just a may use. So Hunter's the leader. So Hunter can still do claim and pick up the boxes and whatnot. Omega just allows you that if you were moving up your squad, let's just say the boxes, back a little bit, you don't have to stop your squad there. Hunter could go forward he can go forward with the unit, right? Get closer to
Mhm.
where
And put
you want to
Omega
go.
there.
Omega can cohere back to the box, and you can claim, and
Oh, okay,
Omega
okay,
picks
okay.
it up, and then you attach it to Hunter. Though, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a May. It just adds an additional
Gotcha. I get
mini
that
that
wrong.
you can interact with the objectives.
And
So like,
and and Omega gets 2 white dice onto their already generous pool.
and she costs 10 points. What's interesting is like the way I'm seeing this is like in recover supplies is now you can get a box off of one move because you move Hunter and then you cohesion Omega into the box and the next action you claim, which is kind of funny because you like sending the little girl out there to get shot at. um, so what do you guys think? What's your
You,
guys' opinion?
you can go first, Jose, because I'll burst your bubble when you're done.
So me and Nick have been discussing this. I've been fighting off everybody with my pitchfork. I think this is amazing.
Oh,
And
oh,
yes, dude, we got it.
oh.
10 HP unit at 160 cost. I mean, you get a keyword for, I mean, they might as well put keyword CRB because they pretty much have every good keyword that possibly can be put on a trooper unit.
Scale? Really?
Dude, there's gonna be moments when
High
you're gonna need
velocity?
scale. Yeah, I think that's a very good. If you got one guy running away with the box and you can somehow, and yes, Jared, I'm with you. There's hardly any out of cover shots. If you can weasel your way to that out of cover shot, you're gonna get that many off the table. And even then, having critical and that spices it up a little bit. Um, I Sharpshooter's amazing. I know people are giving him flack for the range too, but here's the thing: we don't know what Wrecker does, and we don't know what Echo does. So
And tech.
In tech.
and
Yep.
yeah, and tech. So
Mhm.
we don't know what they do. For all we know, those could be range 3, 4 options. The only downside I see to this is me, I love Echo. Echo's my boy. But Echo is on this card, so am I not going to be able to take Echo in my strike team if I take
Mhm.
Bad Bad?
I agree. I think you
Yeah,
can.
yeah, I would
Yeah.
say so. Yep.
Oh man, okay,
Yeah.
now
Yeah,
I might be
I bet
bugging.
you anything. Maybe this is a little far-fetched and a little mean. That Echo's just going to be the Echo card. Like, there's not going to be new about Echo. It's just
But that's good though. That's critical.
No, he'll be different. He'll be different because he was almost a totally different person with Bad Batch. He had been all modified by the Separatists. He wasn't even. He's gonna have a different skill set than that.
Well, even if it was, that would make the crosshair thing not so bad, because for crosshair to gain critical one, he needs to be the only one shooting. But if you're using Echo and you can just choose to split fire because I'm assuming they're all heavy, so that you can split fire 5 different ways if you want to. You can put Echo and a crosshair if it's classic Echo, and you would be able to gain the high velocity, the pierce, the precise, and then you wouldn't even have to worry about losing critical from crosshair because Echo has critical. You would just be bumping up to 3 red dice shooting critical one.
I
but
mean,
Echo doesn't have high velocity.
yeah, he may have some similar keywords, but he won't be the same. It'll be a different card.
So what do you think, Nick?
Okay, so yeah, all right, so here we go. So
No.
no one's gonna play this in clones. Are you? So okay, all right. So I'll speak it this way. In competitive, right? We're talking more probably competitive because obviously anything is fun to take. Anything could be fun to take in a fun game, and that's why I say this unit is going to be more of a rebel unit because rebels aren't competitive. So adding this to our list does nothing. I just don't see where at least where we are today, and again, this is definitely dependent on the other three cards and what they do, could totally change it, right? For all we know, Wrecker throws 8 black dice at range 3, who knows.
Oh,
um
and I'm assuming, I don't know if they confirmed it, you're going to get a command card, right? This is an operative card.
they
They
I
haven't
don't
said.
they didn't say that, but we're assuming.
Yeah, assuming.
So in today's clone lists, where are they going to find 160 points to put this unit in for a unit that can't fire support and can't token share and can't, at least as of now, is not threatening past range 2?
It's a flex unit. It's the one unit you can send off to do whatever they want to
But
do on
for
turn.
160 points, what's coming out of the list?
So I am in 100% in agreement with Nick on this. Like literally, I think it's dead on arrival. Like assuming what the other cards don't do, because you're gonna always use the one red to have the pierce one from Crosshair, right? So that's 2, 4, 6, 8 black. No, 8 black. No, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 blacks, and then 4 whites, and then the one red. And it's just like it's got steady and sharpshooter one, sure, but it's like I think Wrecker's gonna have Ram one, and then maybe a stronger melee. I don't think it's gonna have another gun. Tech, I think is gonna have some kind of comms thing. I don't think it's gonna have another gun. And then maybe Echo. Echo's the wild card for me, but like I guarantee you don't see a bunch of weapons on these guys in the
So-
form of firing range.
Well, this is where I think it caught me a little off guard with what we've seen so far with Hunter and Crosshair. So I thought they were going to cost points, but the reason I thought they were going to cost points is because I thought they would do more than this. So I'm okay them costing 0 because they're not really doing much. I mean, not they don't do anything, but I would want to pay for points for what they are doing. But I thought we were going to pay for points because they were going to bring more killing power to the table.
So here's where you're gonna find your 160. You ready for this, Nick? And it pains me to say this, and I've had success with this, and here's where it's gonna be a clone line. You're gonna have to sacrifice Anakin to go with Rex, buff their range. Rex helps them with Call Me Captain. They're gonna want to take the aim anyways. They get the benefit off of precise. They get the range expansion, and you're just gonna follow up Rex and the Bad Bats with phase 2s or phase 1s. I've managed to get a 10 activation list with 2 clone captains, 6 phase 2 Z6s, and strike teams. So if you just cut out the 2 captains, you can fit in Rex, you go down an act, and then you can squeeze in Bad Batch, and then you'll have to probably drop down to like a couple more phase 1s, but you would still be able to benefit off that. I don't think you run them with Anakin. I think a Madman might run him with Obi just because they're already tough to kill, and Obi's just going to be, hey, let me take this off you for a little bit. But I think this unit is going to be for the guys who aren't comfortable with force choosers, and that already are playing into the Cody, for example, Rex, for example, those type of things. When you bring Cody, your heavy unit isn't a saber tank. Your heavy unit is a 60 point, 65 point, or 75 point ATRT. So you're not going to fit this in your traditional Anakin Padme list, but you will be able to find the points and make this your hard hitting unit that just synergizes with the rest of the ball.
That's the thing is I don't think it's hard hitting at all.
Yeah, it's a black and a white at range
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, that's what
And
B2 shoot, and it doesn't do like
Yeah.
that.
But
And they
here's my
can't-
thing.
And they don't generate any tokens too. That's the thing too.
That we
important
know
on
of yet.
this. That's true. And again,
Mhm.
very much true. We don't know, but as of now, they don't generate any tokens.
So here's where I've kind of been on the right path with them because I'm a believer already. When everybody was saying it wasn't going to be a 5-man unit, I said it was going to be a 5-man unit. When everybody's like, oh, but they don't do much, I'm already saying wait till we see the other guys, and it's followed by still they don't do much.
What do you think the other guys are going to do?
So Tech. So Wrecker should have a gun. I think he will have a gun. He should have a gun. It should
Tech
probably
is
be
how-
range 3.
Tech is how you're gonna get your comms and stuff. You're gonna get your gear and stuff with Tech.
Or repair.
He'll be free. He'll be
might have a
free,
repair.
and then he'll be free, and then that's how you get your comms relay. That's how you get your O push, because he's the tech guy. So he'll be 0 points, but not really, because you're gonna tack onto that 0 point unit. It's gonna say, like the rebel card. What's the rebel card where you get to attach 2 free gear? What is it? It's the captain.
Yeah, the captain. Yeah.
One of them does 2 free gear slots. So tech can easily be 0 points, 2 free gear, or 2 free training, and then or gear and training, and that allows you to get your offensive push. That allows you to get your stims. That allows you to get the things that they don't have right now. That's already an upside, and give them like a black die at range 3. That's another die to the pool. But you're getting the O push. You're getting things you need.
It's a specialist. The specialist gives you another gears. Captain gives you the training. Yeah,
So
specialist.
then tech is a specialist.
Echo could maybe have something cool because, like I said, he's all like he's almost a machine, at this point. So that'd be pretty cool if he had some kind of neat ability. Um, but no, Wrecker's got to have a gun. He's got to.
I don't think so. You never see Wrecker with the gun. Like aside
Oh,
from,
he's always shooting. What are you
hold on,
talking
hold on, hold on,
about?
hold on, hold on, hold on. Let me clarify. Let me clarify. He doesn't have a special gun. He has the same gun that all of them have. But in my opinion, watching Bad Batch, he's always like smashing things in like things.
No, Wrecker does have a different gun. When they're all shooting their pistols, he's got a rifle he's shooting. And I just remembered actually something. Actually, I know what Wrecker should do. They better do this.
Uh-oh.
He's a demolitionist. He does explosives.
Stabs.
He should have some type of bomb.
Yes, I'm down.
Yeah, he should have some type of bomb.
I mean,
Steady, throw a bomb, come back.
I just think from the feels that I'm getting and with the way AMG going with characters and stuff like that, they do different things. So like I see this unit being like you could do several things with this unit, maybe all at once, maybe not all at once, but like you have options, a lot of options with these guys. They're definitely hard to kill because of the health point, but I don't know, man.
Yeah,
For
even look Wrecker's picture, his gun in the picture. See, he's holding a rifle. That's the rifle he always shoots in the show. It's different from everyone else that always has the pistols.
I just feel like they're just gonna give him a better melee and it's just gonna have RAM.
No, he might have RAM, but
Looks like a
I'm
shotgun.
hoping he has his a gun. He will have explosives. He will. He'll have an explosive ability.
I'm with Nick. I want explosives.
That's like his thing. They talk about in the show all the time. He's always setting stuff off. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is gonna be fun, but I don't know how competitive. Aside from if they have heavy line of sight blockers on the table, once again, it might
Oh
be
god.
good. It might be good.
Oh, no, yeah, it's terrible for the clones. This is a great unit for the rebels. All fun running these in rebels.
Who are you replacing, Ahsoka or Luke?
Probably Luke because they're operatives and I have Din. So that's my two operatives. I am playing Din and Bad Batch. That's how I have to do it. I have no other option.
Which canonically doesn't make sense for people who are like, it needs to make sense. Legion needs to make sense. No, Legion needs to be fun.
Well, and that's the thing too. We technically have not seen how they get into Rebels. They said it, and we can see the Rebel symbol on Omega, but the unit card they showed us is not a Rebel mercenary card. So either there's some other text like on the back of Omega's card that says Bad Batch is now Rebel mercenary, or there's people speculate that there's another unit card.
So you can't take Omega with Bad Batch and clones then, right? Because she just has the
correct. Yeah.
Oh, so that
but you can't actually from this see how do you even take them in Rebel. So there has to be another unit card that actually has the Rebel Merc symbol. And I think some people speculated that it will be different points because that you won't be able to take Crosshair.
Rebels are so cheap; they make you guys pay for the heavy weapons.
Well, hopefully it's cheaper because you have to pay 10 for Omega, and again, it's kind of like speculative, but I believe we won't be able to take Crosshair, so we won't have the same unit size.
Did they say Crosshair you're going to be able to use an Empire?
I don't recall
they didn't say
that.
During. They didn't card, say.
Yeah,
but this card. Say, oh, good.
This card says Bad Batch only, and they showed us the Crosshair card.
Yeah, so they didn't say during the stream, but during their Shatterpoint stream, they said that Crosshair is not going to be available to the Empire in Shatterpoint. I don't know if that's going to have any crossover into the Legion aspect of it, because their thing was Crosshair at the time that they're printing out the time frame, like in the Star Wars universe that they're bringing the Bad Batch from. Crosshair has not yet joined with Empire, so that's the reason they're not going to put him in an Empire shatter list. So I don't know if that's going to have any crossover in Legion.
Crosshair can be in. I'll have to check his eras because it's eras in Shatterpoint, so he doesn't have to be Empire. You can put him in any squad in that era, and I'm pretty sure he's in the Reign of Empire era. So So you could play Vader with Crosshair and Shatterpoint. I'm pretty sure you could do that.
Yeah, that's just what they said on the stream.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't play a lot of Shatterpoint, so I'm just like, you know.
So moving on, they announced Imperial Right Control Squad. We just got the art for it, and it looks pretty sick. I feel like this are going to be focused mostly on melee. Um,
They
I
get
definitely
K2 bot.
they do when I can see they have guns, so I feel like maybe you could run it a melee version of this or a range version, depending on what you like. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they and 4 of them got shields, so you assume that's gonna, and most of them aren't even holding not holding any blasters, so you think there's probably gonna play into it.
So Stormtroopers already hit with black dice in melee, and we know that from the K2 model for Rebels, K2 has 4 red dice. I'm not saying these are gonna have 4 red dice, but it looks like these guys are just gonna take the normal. We got nothing to do but drop people's elbows. I think these guys are gonna be straight up. If you want more melee focused, coming because think about it, you run 4-man naked storms, and they're good for grabbing objectives. Sometimes you shoot and get lucky, other times you don't. But your 4 naked guys are there to grab objectives. So imagine taking 4 of these guys to do the same thing, except if something gets close, bam, riot shield. And stun. They have a stun baton, so they might be mobilized.
Yeah, could be immobilize or something to that effect. Yeah, some type of melee keyword. This unit also screams range 2 to me. They're probably range 2 as well.
Yeah, I feel like honestly gonna be melee focused, but all right. Next thing they announced is this one I'm actually excited for because I think these guys are gonna have incognito. The Rebel Sleeper Cell units. It looks like you can probably like have these guys maybe infiltrate and incognito, which would be cool. I think these guys also gonna shoot range 1 to 2. And they're definitely gonna have horrible saves.
Yeah, this unit better be amazing because we don't get rebel units anymore. So, and this is the first one in a long time, and at least out to next year, it's the only one. That was the thing too. Rebels got the least amount of things spoiled. There was multiple CIS units coming, multiple Empire, multiple clones. There was only one rebel thing, and this is it. So they better be a lot of fun to play, I'm hoping. There's also at least 8 models on the box. So I don't know if that droid is something extra or what it might be, but there's even more models than you normally would have in a unit.
It looks sick, dude. They got the guy with the dual pistols. I'm big on modeling my guys with dual pistols. If you see my clone army, anytime I could put dual pistols on a clone guy, just come at me, bro. That dual pistol better be the leader.
I'm just saying these guys need to have incognito. I'm gonna be upset they don't have incognito. Like literally, it's the sleeper cell unit. They literally are blending in the background, so they need to come out. I'm actually excited for you, Nick, because I think these guys are gonna be pretty sick.
Yeah, these guys are gonna be dope.
Well, and hopefully they're core. Hopefully,
I don't think they're gonna be core. No, because
really that many models as a special forces.
Yeah, that screams core.
To be
Both
honest,
of
you guys make a great case because of the model count, but like this is like a sleeper cell unit. You're gonna run 6 with incognito, right? So like,
what if they get the Ewok treatment? They get 8. The sleeper cell unit gets 8.
Well, they need to start doing this. So my big campaign is this: they need to start pipping, pip them. Use the pip system.
Yes, I agree with you.
Put 2 pips on them. Then you don't have to worry about someone spamming them. You can make them core, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I think they should do that with everything, in my opinion.
It's gonna stop them from getting money though. That's the problem. With a unit like this, you're gonna want multiple if they're really good, and by pipping them, you're just not getting the money out
But
of
Legion
them.
has a spamming problem, in my opinion. It's just people just spam the greatest thing.
I do agree with that a little bit, Jose, but I think that's where the one place where core you could still get your money, because like, so let's say if you don't pip them, well, you have to make them special forces. Now you can only buy 3. So make them core, pip them at 3. You're still buying 3 of them.
Yeah. I just hate limitations, and that's coming from a guy who doesn't really. When I play clones, I spam because we got nothing else to do. But like when I play like Shadow Collective, or I play Rebels, or I play Empire, like I'm not really spamming anything. If anything, outside of clones, those armies are where I go for the fun stuff. Like I whenever I play Rebels, it's Rogue One, Cassian, Jin, K2, Pathfinders, even though they're terrible. When I play Empire, it's Scarif, it's freaking it's my shore troopers, my mortars, a Vader, stuff like that. Um, so I don't, I just, I'm not big on the model limits. When it comes to a hero unit, if there's like a name guy, yeah, cool, limit that guy. But just, I don't like limits in games like this. I mean, we're already dealing with the amount limit, and that gets kind of bonkers because core you get six, cool. But if you bring Ewoks, then because they're mercenaries, you only get two. You need to take another card to get three. Like, but I want to play a lot of Ewoks. Like, I get it, Battle Force and all that, but I just do not like limits. I think if you love the model, you love the units, like play them. It's not some bonkers like Special Forces. If they're strong, they're strong, but they're gonna have a downfall. Everything that's strong has an innate downfall to a T. It's just up to you to counter them.
So moving on, I didn't watch the stream, so I'm pretty sure they said more information, but they showed the crab droids again. Looks like the same image we got last year. Supposed to be coming out in Q4 of 2024. I don't know if they said anything, if you guys heard anything about them.
I didn't catch what they said about the crabs. No, I didn't catch. But this was actually last time we only saw the rendered picture. So this is actually now you're actually seeing the actual model with paint on it. So a little different, yeah.
Yeah,
They didn't. Oh, good.
No, I was gonna say this screams like another support, like the spiders and everything. So I'm excited for it. It's CIS unit. We'll see how good it is. Yeah.
They didn't give it a model designation like Special Forces Heavy. They said they're pretty big, which kind of screams heavy, but at the same time, they didn't give us too much information. But when you look them up on what they actually are, like in the lore, they're tanks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're tank. They're
Like
support tank.
like an AAT?
Not that big. They're a support tank, like a personnel tank, something
Yeah,
small.
yeah, because they're still small. Because don't we see them in Kashyyyk battle? And you see
They're a
the
little bigger than
you see the
Deca's.
clones like jumping on top of them, right, and shooting them.
No, I thought that's what the spider droids they were jumping on top of.
Were those spiders or were they crab? I'll have to
I
check.
thought there were spiders, but the only time I ever remember seeing crab droids was in the Clone Wars, the cartoon series.
Mm.
And like they had to do like an infiltrate into and drop some bombs. I think that's what those guys were. I don't remember. Moving on to the next thing was they announced the CIS Aqua droids. There's four, and they have what do you call the base where you have the indent in it?
Notched.
The
Or notch
Thank you.
base.
Thank you.
Notched.
They have a notch base. I'm really hoping this is going to be the core's third option, like the core third option.
They said that these
No.
guys are big.
They're big.
They are
Yeah,
big.
they're really
They're
big.
big. They're big.
Okay, hold on. You said crab droids were big, and now you're saying these guys are big.
No,
I said
we
all just getting big things.
no. I said crab droids are big based on their lore, like when you read their personnel tanks. But these guys in the stream, the guy who's presenting was like, these guys look big. They are big. Like he kept going big.
and he was comparing it to other trooper models, right? Not like tank big, but like they are going to be bigger than any other trooper or anything like that we've had.
So kind of like a tall K2SO.
I'm thinking like Dark Troopers.
Yeah, I'm thinking tall. I'm thinking bigger than Dark Troopers. With the way they described it, bigger than Dark Troopers.
And the silhouette's going to make them 10 feet tall.
Well, I'm excited for these guys. I'm really hoping they're going to be the core third options, but the way you guys are describing them, they look like supports again, which is fine. There's a lot of support options for CIS. I feel like we need more options in the core options, heavy options, and special force options.
Yeah, I could see them in special forces.
Yeah, maybe they will be in special forces. That'd be cool. Which with the crab and the aqua, I feel like they're going a little bit of the aqua, planet invasion. Which would be cool, which would be pretty awesome. Moving on, they announced the Outer Rim Battle Terrain Pack in Q1 of 2025. I'm excited for this because this is the very first time, I believe.
Mhm.
Well, they did the down X-wing, right? And I can't remember anything else they did, but this is
That's terrain
official.
by proxy.
Yeah, this is official Legion terrain that you can use for your map, which I think is cool. What do you guys think?
I'm always ready to buy more terrain. Yeah, maybe I'm a sucker for that, but I buy all their really expensive terrain. But
So they're gonna have to rule this because I know Nick is gonna abuse it in the no wait till you hear it. So those two separate pieces at the bottom of the photo,
Mhm.
the announcement for those are considered heavy barricades. Those
Good.
pieces are bigger than no, here's the problem. Nick likes to run around with Yoda on force lift shit. You know how big that thing is that he's gonna be able to chuck around places?
I don't know if they're going to be barricades. They just said they
Yeah.
wanted to do something different than
Yeah.
barricades.
And
I
I'm
think
honest. Go ahead.
I think they're still be you could still classify them as heavy, but they won't be barricades. You
Yeah, I
can't pick
think
them
you're
up with
right.
force
Yeah.
lift.
I honestly am glad that they're defining the terrain because if they're gonna start coming out the terrain and defining it ahead of time, I'm all for
Way
that.
better.
All for that. Like then when you put it on the map, it's just like it's already defined. We don't need to talk about it. That's what they said. Boom, easy.
It's my only worry about this is if there's so much third party stuff for terrain. They're getting into a market that's already been saturated and it's already competitive in terms of terrain that I think this is too late to make a difference. And the thing that sucks is I love Legion terrain, and especially if it's made by the guys who make Legion, it's going to be very thematic. But if it doesn't sell, I mean, we're not going to get enough of it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the box and it's just like what comes in and everything. It's not enough to fill a table, right? And you don't want to buy like three or four of these to fill a table. So I feel like this is a nice little like I'll add this to a table, but I need more to make a table.
Well, the price is going to be an important point because the other train pieces that I've purchased like the Shatterpoint boxes and the MC, their MCP, boxes that they have. And sometimes they come with the models, the display and all that. So they're pretty expensive so this is definitely much less than those. So hopefully it's a cheaper price point where um buying this is not gonna, be 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 too expensive for people.
Yeah. Moving on, they announced Republic ARF Troopers, which looks like they're coming out Q1 of 2025. Um, I feel like these are special forces, but then again, this is 7 models. So this also screams to me core.
Yeah, it looks like core with the two heavy weapon options. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they got the RPS and then whatever the other gun is.
Hmm.
DC-15.
Yeah, yeah. These
So
guys, I think
the
if the range troopers are going to be core, I think these guys are going to be the range four for clones.
Well, no, the range troopers are support.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Mhm.
Maybe these no, because Delta. I don't know, but yeah, these guys look cool. On that note, they're coming with Jedi attachments. Uh, thank the Lord, because I've been waiting for this for the Clone Boys to finally get their Jedi's on the field. That actually feels like a Jedi is leading them. Um, and I also Rob was telling me that you could put these also in ARC troopers, so not just the ARC troopers. And interesting enough is this is the Darth Maul's race, right? Zabrak.
Yeah.
Zabrak.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's interesting to me because like in the AMG tournaments, you have to run the legal model, right? And it's just like, oh, I'm gonna run the guy that looks like Maul with my clones.
It looks like he even has a double-bladed lightsaber, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. What do you guys think
They
about this?
said they said they were gonna have different sculpts, like different options, like building them in. So that makes me think that the attachments, it's cool, but I don't think it's just gonna be limited to clones. I think it's gonna be able to be across. It would be awesome for it to just be clones because screw everybody else, but like to be able to have you run around with B1s and a Sith Zabrak backing them up,
Mm.
or
You're not
you
gonna
know,
have that.
I'm
Because
just saying the fact that they have it and they said it's going to be multiple different ways to build them, and then like I said, they're an attachment, not necessarily built for the unit. That opens up more. Like I said, I'm all about play space, and this is what they're doing with all these cool things, is just opening up play space, giving Legion room to breathe.
Yeah, if you look at the sculpt, they look like they're very similar sculpts with just the exceptions of being the head and the arms.
Mhm.
So I think you're going to have some different options. I don't think it's going to really matter like what you put on there, because it's going to be the same uh unit type, right? Same unit card.
I could see them putting different alien heads as an
Yeah,
option.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So definitely that'd be cool. I'm really excited for these guys. These guys make me want to play clones because, like, man, running 3 ARF troopers with Jedi attachments, I think that's gonna be badass. I hope it shakes the game up a little bit because hopefully they get a force slot. That's force push right there.
Yeah, I hope they make clones better. They've been struggling as of late, so that'll be that'll be good.
Yeah, seriously, they need to go up the ladder. Rebels, get out of the way. You're too OP already. um, with that being said, the last thing they announced is that Grievous and Obi-Wan are getting resculpts. Um, I, I don't really care for Grievous's resculpt. Obi-Wan's look cool, but I like the old version of the General Grievous.
What's a little interesting about this is I guess they're gonna do the clone box too. So they told us last year they were going to redo the core box, but they just showed us the Rebel and Imperial. I wasn't actually expecting them to also redo the clone box. I guess it makes sense, but that's so essentially there's gonna be two new core boxes that they'll be selling.
Which,
Um,
correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, but isn't the new Civil War box gonna have different units in it?
no, it's the same. It's just resculpt. It's gonna have Luke. It's gonna
Okay.
have the stormtroopers, the rebel troopers, but they're all hard plastic. They're all new sculpts. But it's the same. As far as as far as we know, I guess I'll say they've only said it's just resculpts. They haven't said anything about different cards.
I
Yeah.
forgot who I was talking to, and I don't know if we mentioned it on the podcast, but somebody said like there was they weren't called Rebel Troopers anymore. They were called something different.
No, that's the rebel cells. So that's the ones we've seen now. So last time
Okay.
they showed us render of the sleeper cell unit, we saw
Mhm.
the renders of those.
We
Now we
thought they were the
actually,
resculpt.
yeah.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. That's cool. Always down for resculpts. Definitely for newer players. So that's exciting. But well, overall, what do you guys think of these announcements?
But
Oh, we didn't get to the best ones. What about the Shatterpoint
No,
announcements?
no,
Is
no,
it
no,
that
no,
no? Oh,
no, no. I mean, we could go over if you guys
no,
really want to,
no,
but like, oh,
no. I'm mainly a rebel player, but I play Empire, so the range troopers look fun. So I'm looking forward to playing the range troopers. Those definitely look cool. Um, I like the Bad Batch. They look like they're going to be a fun unit to play as well. So I'm happy to see those two and that they're coming out soon, right? I mean, next few months here we'll have those.
push it
So
back 3 more months. It's always pushed back.
yeah, we'll see. Yes, that's true. That happens. So yeah, that looks pretty cool. I am a little sad that I've got one rebel unit coming for the next foreseeable 2 years. That's a little sad, but that's where Shatterpoint gets me through the day. So
there's like what 10, 11 announcements for Shadowpoint. Is
oh,
that
there
right?
were
It
there
was
was
a
so
Nice.
lot.
and they were all so good.
That's what makes me so upset. Is like Shatterpoint looks so good, and don't get me wrong, that's their baby. And like I feel like as far as AMG got it, correct me if I'm wrong, there's been more like Empire stuff than any other faction, right? That's been coming out for a faction. And I had a theory. I always thought they were biased for Empire, but my new theory is that they got handed Star Wars Legion. They didn't want Star Wars Legion, right? We all know that. They just got handed it. And so they're just like, okay, well, we have this game that we need to make stuff for. Well, the head honchos want to see high numbers. So what do they play the most? And a lot of people play Empire. So if you make Empire something, Empire, you guys are going to buy it. which is like a crazy amount of people play, and that's why we're getting the scraps for the other factions, in my opinion.
I don't know. Your CS is getting a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hold on. We get the crabs and aqua droids. I mean, I'm
All
not even.
vulnerable to impact.
And you got Geonosians.
I'm
You
not
got a
counting
whole.
Geonosians. Nick, they just threw that in. They just like put these in. Just make them look cool, and they do nothing. Nothing.
But they have your symbol on the card. That's more than what I can say for my army. They
Okay.
everything they bring out for my army doesn't have the rebel symbol on it.
That's not true.
So
Ewoks have the rebel symbol.
I can't. No, it's a merc. They're not rebels.
So is if they come out with a merc for Bad Batch, does that mean they're not gonna be rebel units?
They're not rebel units. No, Bad Batch is not rebel units. I can play them in my rebel army, but they're not rebel units.
So you're not counting Bad Batch as a rebel release?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just a little frustrating. Like, don't get me wrong, Shatterpoint's the main game they want to focus on, and I get it. And I really want to like Shatterpoint, but that skill tree just kills me, man. It kills me so much.
You got to play more MCP. MCP will help you out with that.
No, wait, I played MCP and I like the MCP mechanic. You roll, you look, you see what it does. No, this is I roll, I look to see where I can go on the skill tree. My opponent rolls, I gotta see what he went on the skill tree. It's just okay, all right. It's just
Hondo will give you a heart attack. Then they showed Hondo's card, and it's like here, all the way across.
And on purpose too, because the way they have it, it could have just been a straight line. Because you have to go like this. It's not like I get to choose. You have to go like this. So they could have done the exact same thing as a straight line, but because it's Hondo, you do this.
Maybe one day. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I love the art. I love the sculpts, and it's a skirmish game, which is more appealing because it's faster. I just can't get my head off the freaking skill tree stuff. But anyways, go ahead, Jose.
Oh no, I was gonna say just for my quick recap. As you guys know, I've been on a Legion like buzzkill lately, and I'm sorry about that. There just wasn't nothing exciting or fun for me to do in terms of like units I want to play or things I want to do. So seeing all this pop up got me re-hyped for the game, super pumped. The furthest thing out they have is 2025. But the sad part is all the amazing Shatterpoint releases, all the amazing resculpts, and all the amazing Legion stuff. And I'm probably not going to see Qui-Gon until 26, 27.
Qui-Gon's interesting because they haven't done him in Shatterpoint either. So it's like, and even with all the Shatterpoint reveals, he wasn't teased. So it's kind of strange that they just won't make him in either game. He's not coming out in either game.
I'm wondering if it's a likeness issue because they got Amidala and her guards.
Yeah,
like how's
maybe
Qui-Gon not there?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I've kind of wondered too. Is it a likeness issue because he just doesn't? But they've had him in other games, in the card games, right? Destiny.
I was gonna say, go ahead.
He's in X-wing, but it's a ship. You don't see his face, so it's just. Oh wait, no, he's not an X-wing. Wait, no, he's not an X-wing. No, he's not an X-wing either in that either. Yeah.
But that's the thing is like they don't even need to use his face because as far as I know, Shatterpoint is more of a Clone War art, right? Mm-hmm. So you could use the clone art of Qui-Gon and that'd be fine because it doesn't look like Liam Neeson.
Well, he wasn't in the Clone Wars. Maybe that's why, I guess.
But he wasn't in Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah, true.
So maybe.
But that was still before Clone Wars.
But Darth Maul was in CIS. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, I agree. He should be removed. He shouldn't be allowed to be played.
Hey, and don't start him up again.
Yeah, so all this Legion news is going to take us all the way to Q3 of 2025. So yeah, we'll see a lot of good stuff coming out. I'm sure it's going to get a lot of people excited. I'm excited for the aquas and the crabs. So yeah, overall, I'm happy with the announcements they got. Anyways, we'll move on to the Worlds Tournament. We have a winner, and I believe that winner was Ollie.
Shocking, shock the world.
Yeah, so let's go. I'll go over his list, and we'll talk about. I didn't get a chance to watch it. I was busy with life. I didn't get your guys' opinions if you guys will watch it. But first, we'll go over Ollie's list, which is Dogs and Dirt, a meal by Andy. He's running 4 Black Suns. Looks like 3 of them with the Mag Enforcer, the Vigo, and the Fragment Grenades. Or there are 2 of them that way. And then the other 2 with the Scattergun and the Vigo. 3 Swoop Bikes, which I'm shocked to see. And then 2 AA5s, one with the Backworld Medic, 2 with the Backworld Medic, one with the Gunk Droid and Comm Jammer, the other one with the Raider Leader, and then the Gunk Droid and Comm Jammer. Then his opponent for the finals was Luke Cook making his return with Boba Fett retires because he's playing CIS and he's playing the experimental droids with the Super Tac, aggressive tactics, 2B2s with the B2 Hob, the B2B1s with the PK series, Magna Guards with the RPS, and then 3BXs with the shields, offensive push, and the sniper and impact grenades, shockingly enough. What do you guys think?
Did you watch the game, Nick?
I did get to watch a little bit of it. Yeah. So the Black Sun's not too surprising, right? Because we know they're good to spam. What struck me as interesting was the comms jammer on the buses, and I don't know if he'll probably talk about it in the podcast. Is that just how he always played it, or was that specific because he knew there was going to be a lot of experimental droids at Worlds, right? Because comms jammers obviously really mess up CIS lists and their orders, and when that AI starts kicking in, even if you can get the AI to kick in just a couple turns, right, that can really sometimes mess up some plans, especially when you're trying to get to objectives in late games and now you can't choose your action. So I'm curious about that, if the comms jammer was a conscious choice because of what he thought he would be facing, or if that's just how he ran them.
So, in my opinion, if you're running AA5, I think you always slap a comm jammer on it because you're always going to be trying to get to your opponent, and it just makes sense to lock everybody down from getting any orders. That's the way I like to play my AA5s. But yeah, you could be right. Did the comm jammer come in effect in that game?
So yeah, so here's the thing. This list is specifically tailored to beating EXD, and this is why. The comms jammer prevent so in the flip, they ended up playing breakthrough. So one of the things Ollie did was to get the AA5 in to stall the droids because they were on hemmed in, so Luke didn't have to go far to score. But the thing is, he was running the AA5 in there and then tying his units up in melee, so he couldn't pull out of it. So what it was it was very tactically done, because we've seen Luke play so many times. Dude, just a tactician. I mean, he did it against Lila last year, where it looks like Luke's gonna lose. He keeps backing up, and then boom, just delivers a hammer. That's the approach he took, because the buses were with the frag Vigos were in it, and he was just running them towards Luke, and Luke just kept backing up, taking shots, playing shots, and all that's going on, the soups are coming in and overrunning stuff, causing complete chaos. It didn't matter if Luke was in a melee, the soup was just gonna run it over and then run something else over. And it just came down to me, Luke was doing Luke things. The problem this time was Luke's dice were not there. Luke was rolling red dice and then blanking and picking up whole units. He lost a whole unit of VXs, lost a whole unit of the Magnas got wiped in like one shot. It was the whole thing was
Magnas
crazy.
only have 1 health. Like they're definitely a fill-in, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, but to have red dice, like I've seen Luke throw red dice before, and Luke never, his dice are not this bad. Like the stream was saying that they should go buy some dice for Luke Cook real quick and bring them to him, and it was crazy. Like Luke had the plan. I'm gonna pace myself, do Luke things, and then at the last minute, I'm gonna go for it. But by the time it came down to round 6, Ollie had the bust in there. Ollie had a soup ready to score. Ollie just caused enough chaos with Luke backing up to end up winning the match. I think he won it 4-2. So Ollie's list was tailored to beat EXD. And I think Rob had mentioned Ollie did not lose to a single EXD list that he played that weekend.
You said they were playing on Breakthrough,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Play
breakthrough
breakthrough.
Hemden.
and it was Ollie's list that they played, right? The Battleground.
Yeah,
I'm shocked Luke Cook gave him Breakthrough just because his whole list wants to run you down your throat, and it's sure we're gonna be on that side of the board
They
anyway.
yeah, they
I
talked
didn't see the flip.
they talked about the flip in the post game. I didn't catch all of it, but there I guess there was some other choices that he didn't want. I think there's something like limited viz was out there, rapid was out there. So I think I could be wrong, and they'll probably talk about it, but I think Luke had to do some different strikes in that versus the breakthrough.
I got you. And yeah, and then Ollie got hemmed in, which is huge. It's like, what do you do in that situation? But yeah,
Pray.
apparently. So congratulations to Ollie. I need to go and watch that game. Anything you caught your eye when you saw it, Nick?
No, the dice thing too. Yeah, so that was definitely a thing. But you know, the dice thing's always interesting because um they can fail, right? That happens, right? I mean, so I definitely get it that like, oh, like the red dice shouldn't be doing that, but you know, it happens. So you have to play around it, and you know, he obviously did as much as he could to try and play around it. Because it was definitely not in his favor. Um, I think I think some of that AI kicked in at the end that kind of hurt. Not being able to choose his action.
Yeah, yeah. I guess you are right. Did Ollie? Because how many, Jose? Do you know how many XD droids lists he played?
I don't know exactly how many he played, but Rob in the chat made it a point to be like Ollie was like rolling EXDs over. Um, so it had to have been a lot. Kind of like that, like at LVO when you ran through how many Blizzard Force to get to the championship. That was wild.
Yeah.
It was you gotta watch the game, dude. It's a it's a really amazing thing to watch Luke play. Luke is just like I said, a masterful tactician. And then you saw his heavyweight match with Lila, which is she's no slouch herself. But watching Luke take on Ollie, and especially knowing that he was like at the disadvantage he was at for like the rounds 3, 4, and 5, like Ollie had Luke on his heels where the announcers were like, "Yeah, this is Ollie's game," and then Luke just rallies back, and they're like, "Man, it went from Ollie's game to anybody's game now." It was, in my opinion, a pure masterclass match if you're ever going to see one. Ollie, I've never seen him play. I've never followed any tournaments. I think he's from the UK. He's part of the That's No Moon podcast group.
Yep.
And tactics of like, I know you say that one day you want to play Luke Cook, and I think you're gonna do it eventually, but you should really watch this game and watch the skills. I mean, for Legion to me is like chess. Anybody can play. You can get the basics down, but it's knowing how to tactically do it to pull this off. And the fact that these guys were, there's times where I'm in a bad matchup and I'm just like, oh, I'm done. But to see Luke be in this bad matchup and then make it like all the way to the end and just take it to the wire, like masterclass game, awesome. That's the way Worlds should have ended.
Well, that's awesome. Glad to hear that. And it seems like the guys from the No Moon podcast are really good. So I'll be excited to eventually, hopefully, play one of them. But congratulations, Ollie. Sound like an awesome win. And I'm excited to see what they do with the AMG because I'm really hoping that all these things that they're announced that they're going to come out with some kind of buffs and nerfs to everything relatively soon, since World is now over. You know what I mean? And shockingly, they didn't announce any like new Worlds invite for next year.
That will be coming though, right? Because they did it after last time, right? So it will be coming probably here in April.
Okay.
Right? That's when they did last year, I think.
Well, they got to do it soon because
World is
I
the
get
end
those,
of the Legion year.
they
Yeah.
got to get those invites and out and everything. So
They gotta do something different though. I think that's part of the part where they hopefully they already figured out they need to do something different than what they did last year. So hopefully they're not talking about that now. Hopefully that was talked about a long time ago and
that
they already got
was
there.
so frustrating to hear that all top eight took draws just to secure their spot in top eight. Like
No, that wasn't this year. That wasn't for this event.
This wasn't for this event. I thought it was
No,
for
no,
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 the.
no, no, no,
no,
no. That was
yes,
the.
no. This, yeah, that happened at Worlds.
Are you
The
serious?
six. There was eight. So it was more eight matches. Eight matches intentionally drew. So 16 players had intentional draws.
I thought that was. I asked Rob,
That's
or I mentioned. I thought that
No,
wasn't this. I thought it was
that
something
was
else.
that was Worlds. It
that's
was on. It was on.
so
Yeah,
so dumb, and I'm sure Rob has more information on that because he was at Worlds.
it was on day one because they played the fourth game, and so the fourth game, that's when they all, not all, but that's when a lot of the ones that were undefeated intentionally drew.
Yeah, that's
So,
so dumb.
so while we're on the topic of worlds, I don't want to leave this out, but congratulations to Rob. Legion lads went up there and gave us a presence up there. Finished 2-2, but he's still in Chicago right now, having a blast. So I just want to say, congrats to Rob, and you did us proud, man.
Yeah, and on that note, it would have been in our last episode that got corrupted, but I was not able to make it due to life stuff. So that's why I was not there, which sucks. And hopefully I'm able to go next year. We'll see. Um, so yeah, moving on. Jose, you got some real questions for us?
Yeah, these are going to be quick fire. There wasn't really too much that popped off that was like really crazy, but they're enough to get us the ending segment. Some stuff is for new players, some stuff could be already known. And one thing I thought was very particular to something that happened at the Worlds event that I want to throw in there. So the first one is orbital strike. Svet says, can a Geonosis commander use orbital strike if the army does not have a droid trooper commander or a field commander?
No.
No.
So
But hold on.
LJ,
What are you asking specifically? Can you use the attack or play orbital strike?
he just said generally can you use the card?
Yes, you can use the card. You just if you can't, so like I can give the token to General Grievous, but I can't use the attack.
Droid Grievous is a droid trooper.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
No,
he's not droid.
I
No,
No.
haven't used him in forever.
he could be suppressed. He could be suppressed.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, 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 okay.
yeah. I wish he was a
Um,
droid trooper.
it's I haven't touched Grievous since I got into Legion years ago, so he's gathering dust somewhere. LJ chimes in and says the Geonosian commanders such as Poggle can play orbital strike, but will not be able to use attack listed on the card. The next one is IG-11 one pip wording. So Weebear says in IG-11's one pip, it states that instead of attacking normally, perform one attack against each enemy at range 2. Since the attack no longer normal, does it allow IG-11 to make the range 2 attacks even when engaged?
No, because it has to be versatile. The weapon has to say versatile.
Oh no, it's a trick question. You shouldn't be playing IG-11 because he's terrible. He's really bad. He's really bad.
So Seth chimed in on this one and said, no, IG-11 will follow the standard attack sequence for resolving these attacks. Okay, so this one, I'm gonna move it to last. No, I feel like it's a hot topic. I'll move it to last. So we're gonna go to this one. This is improvise orders and recover. Does the recover action enable improvised orders to be used a second time during the round? For example, a commander exhausts improvised orders to draw a new order token. Then later during that commander's activation, they recover. Presumably, they ready improvised orders, which would allow them to exhaust it a second time to draw a new order token during the same round. He said, I have Callus and 1 and 3 pip command cards in mind, but presumably any recover action would accomplish this. So he's asking if you can get multiple uses off of
Yes.
improvised orders.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Yep. And so that is pretty much the answer. As long as you get it ready up, you can trigger it. So this one I think is interesting because it's once again it's gonna make JR mad. So it's an edge case scenario, but this says so the example I'm gonna paint the picture for you, okay? Here's a building. Okay. In between my thumbs is Darth Maul engaged with 8 Ewoks. But because of the rule of they can't all fit right there, you get to place the other mini, next to the unit. So where the engagement is right here, the other unit is placed within cohesion, but around the wall out of line of sight of Maul. Okay. So taking that into consideration, the question is, in the example below, Vader is in melee with a unit of 5 minis. However, one mini cannot cohere into base contact with Vader and is placed in a legal cohesion behind a piece of LOS blocking terrain such that Vader cannot see him. Does this mean that Vader only has line of sight to 4 minis, not 5, and therefore he can only do a maximum damage of 4 wounds?
So the
No.
answer the answer is yes, he can only do a maximum of 4. He can't get that fifth guy because of the line of sight. But what's interesting is I
Wait, no,
thought
that's not right. He could get the fifth guy.
not if you can't see him. Because
There's no line of sight in melee.
well
Well, here's where it's going to get into it. So go ahead, Jared.
well, I was just gonna say, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not caught up on all the new rules, but aren't you supposed to cohesion or put them as close as possible to the guy you're engaged? So you can't go like put someone way off in the distance. You got to be like touching your other buddies. But I could be
No,
wrong.
he's in
No.
legal cohesion. He's in legal cohesion.
Yeah, if they can't be base to base, you can put them as speed 1 move anywhere from the unit leader.
Okay, okay. Well then yeah, well, I'm gonna go with yeah, it's only 4 wounds. You won't get that fifth guy because of that.
I'm gonna go. You can go 5. There's no line of sight in melee, so
So
you
here
are.
we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Good old AMG. Great question. You are correct that suffering wounds and defeating miniature section does have open the possibility of miniatures being placed out of line of sight of a melee attacker, preventing the damage dealt to their unit. This is not the intended effect. Miniatures defeated by melee attacks, even if they're out of line of sight of the attacking unit. And at the bottom, he says a change will be made in the rulebook next update to make this clear. So it doesn't follow, like Nick says, it doesn't follow the standard format of like shooting somebody, but the wording that people go by is you can only kill what you can see has caused some confusion with this edge case to the point where they have to rework the rulebook for that specific interaction.
So then
I'm-
you can't wait.
You can.
So you can kill the 5 units.
Yeah, but they're saying that the wording makes it to where, the argument can be made that you can't, and they're going to address that with a later update.
That's interesting. Well, of course I was right, so we should make sure that's clear. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that because I can't recall anything in the rule book that.
So that's the picture for the scenario.
Yeah, but I just say I can't recall anything in the rule book that would bring line of sight into a melee engagement. But I'm curious to see what rule they're looking at that what creates the confusion because I didn't think that was anything that you checked with melee. Because
yeah. They know it's there and they're going to address it. So obviously it's somewhere in there, some wonky.
I gotta give it to AMG. I like that they put a stop to a lot of shenanigans that happen in Legion that just feel unfun and unfair. Even though I have some gripes with it and I don't like it because I was so used to the old ways. I think these are good changes in my opinion.
So this next one is by Bushfax. If Bushfax is asking a question, then I think it needs to be answered because Bushfax is a Legion veteran, and there's not much that Legion veterans don't know to the caliber of the competitive players that we see. So Bushfax writes, "Is reverse considered a standard move, thus triggers reposition?"
I want to say yes.
Yes.
So what Seth put is a reverse is not a standard move and will not qualify for the reposition keyword.
Isn't it under the move action section though?
So he wrote, when a notch-based unit can reverse performs a move action, it can choose to reverse instead of making another movement. That is to say, instead of making a standard move, climb, or other type of special moves available to it. He follows up with saying a reverse is not a standard move and will not qualify for the reposition keyword. So when you reverse, it's just wherever your tool goes and you're just stuck in that direction.
I think that's what I also hate about move actions is there's a standard move action and there's move action. It's just like, it's a little confusing, right? But yeah, I guess.
So,
right.
So this last one kind of ties into some, no, I wouldn't say controversy is a strong word. We had a man on the ground and Rob, giving us the dirty news from Worlds. And he had said that there was an incident where a player was DQ'd for having a wrong miniature Ewok in the wrong format. So essentially, what I gathered from this is skirmishers got the spears, slingers got the sling. It sounds like just for fun of I like different units looking different, which I do that too. I do the clone captains on my phase ones because I like the way it looks versus the pointer guy. But apparently, because the unit was not the unit it was supposed to be in, the player was DQ'd.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
the reason I bring that up is because this question was asked on the 11th from ZZ Armory. Says from a rule standpoint, is it a hard rule when using the Empire Boba Fett miniature while playing the Rebel Boba Fett and the other way around? Is this a call that is left up to the TO of the event? And here's the answer. I have my own opinion about this. I'll get it after you guys. Seth put in playing Galactic Conquest, which is this Worlds was the first time they used Galactic Conquest. Keep that in mind. In playing Galactic Conquest, refer to the player responsibility section on miniatures. A proxy is not by default permissible. A miniature must be easily identifiable as the version of the unit it represents. If you have a conversion or customization you are concerned that may not meet miniature specifications, contact your event organizer.
So there's two different things there though. So I totally agree that bring the model that you should have, right? You don't bring a Luke model to play Vader or vice, right? You bring the model. So bring the right Boba Fett, right? And that's I think that's pretty standard to kind of expect that. This Ewok thing though, that shouldn't be an issue because the it's just the
So here's
unit
the
the unit just has to be identifiable. There's nothing, at least I've never seen that been enforced that it's WYSIWYG and then you have to have the right weapons on it because there's a lot of things that would affect like dewbacks. Like I have to
Grievous?
like Grievous, dewbacks, ATRTs, right? So I can't bring my dewback with a flamer if I didn't put the flamer on him. So I'm curious. I'm curious about that DQ example if that happened because was it really about the arms on the miniatures or was it because you couldn't identify his units? Because you could have the right arms on there, but if you got 18 Ewoks and you paint them all the same and you can't identify the unit, that's going to be a problem even if they are the right model.
Well, the example that Rob gave was you can't, the Op Vader model is way cooler than the Commander Vader model. I use the Op Vader model when I use Commander Vader. And I even use my red lightsaber Luke in my Imperial army as, Luke if he had one, or Anakin if he had one. That is the example that Rob gave to where no, if you're running Op Vader, you got to have the Op Vader model. If you're running Commander Vader, you got to have the Commander Vader. Vader's Vader.
No, actually, I totally agree with that because I have played against somebody who used the other model.
Probably me.
No, it was Roman, and I kid you not, I played that entire game like it was the other one because I thought it was the other one.
So, okay, but back to the Ewoks. Okay, to my understanding, he got DQ'd over one model, not a whole squad, right?
From what it sounded like, one model that did not belong in that squad, but he
Oh.
was using it for funsies.
Okay, so if the whole squad were slingers and it was meant to be a spear squad, then I agree he should have got DQ'd because you bring in slingers to a spear. But if it was a spear with like the slinger in it, then I don't think he should have been DQ'd because I like variety in my units too. I like them all to look different.
100%.
And it's just like you could literally identify them by in my army, you could identify them by the color, right? And then how far are you gonna go with that, right? Because like if you're making modifications to your units, like are you gonna automatically get DQ'd? A good example is for your Ewoks, Nick. You didn't put them on the branch, right? So they were just on the base. Am I gonna get DQ'd because they weren't on the branch or the tree, right?
Right? No, I used the tree. Now I did mix the arms. All of my units are mixture of spears and slingers.
Yeah.
But they're color coded. So you can clearly see who is what unit. And here's the thing too. And again, I mean, I guess it's up to the TO and they could be, more strict about it, but the unit just has to be identifiable. That could be as simple as putting a token next to them. This token with this is the slinger units. Every slinger unit has this token. All the ones without the token that is easily identifiable. I mean, especially with the Ewoks, you can't identify those things anyways from looking at the table. They're so small. It doesn't even matter if you have them modeled correctly. I I guess having a unit be identifiable is different than WYSIWYG, where it has to be the exact weapon that you're using. And at least up until this point, Legion's never been WYSIWYG. Like you've never had to do that. Like the dewback is a perfect example. You don't have to buy 9 dewbacks so you can play with all the weapons, right? You put your dewback on the table and you tell your opponent, here's my card, this is what the dewback has, right?
But my counter to that is a dewback is support. There's no dewback in special forces. The confusion here is that I believe that they can fall back on is the skirmishers are core, the slingers are special forces. Those are 2 separate units.
But you can still make them similar. You can still make them identifiable though. It's very easy to make them identifiable without having the weapon arms be the reason why they're identifiable.
And that's what I agree with Nick. You can literally declare like, hey, where are your slingers and where are your spear guys, And I kind of lost my train of thought where I was going with this, because if you start making it to where you have to, like, I get the concept of not bringing a third party model to a game where you want to support AMG. I totally understand that. But taking away the fun of modeling your guy the way you want to model, like I have a 6 Saber Grievous. Am I going to get DQ'd for that? It's just one of those things where it's easy. Clearly, these are the models you provided out of the box. I'm playing your models. So why am I getting DQ'd for playing your models because I customized them away?
Here's my thing. Okay, this is solvable by two things. I might get hate for this or I might get a bad look for this. I really don't care because I harp on it all the time. Number one, when did we stop going to the TO with models that are not identifiable, or no, not the exact models? We've always gone to the TO. I've gone to TOs and said, hey, this is red lightsaber Anakin. I'm going to play him as Vader if that's okay with you, because this is in my head canon. This is Anakin if he just totally wrecked Obi-Wan, and I've gotten an okay. So it's partially on the player for not going to a TO and saying, hey, and even in the rule set for the event, it literally states that you can go to the TO. The TO will make the call.
But it literally sounds like it was just one.
Well, hold on. Yeah, but that's besides the point. It's so DQ worthy. You didn't do the rules. No. So hold on, and let me get into this. And this is going to fit into what you're saying right now. Secondly, okay, these rules are not new, and this is where I'm going to get a little bit of pushback, and I really don't care. These rules have been in effect since LVO 23, 22, when we were the crash dummies. Okay, now this is what I'm saying. This is a problem. TOs at events should be 100% enforcing the Galactic Conquest rules. Those rules are set forth for competitive play. The rules, as talked about by everybody, this is the first event, 2 years later after they were introduced, this is the first event ever where they're enforcing the Galactic Conquest rules, and they have AMG judges. Okay, here's the issue. You should have been enforcing them from the beginning. Not when you feel like it, not because it's going to ruin your fun. If you are running an AMG competitive event, which are what these rules are for, then you should be running them that way, because had you been running them this way since the beginning, this wouldn't be an issue. This is an issue on the players as well as the TOs.
I get where that's coming from, because that's more about the clock issue that was out there and that kind of stuff. But having a unit be the unit and identifiable, that's not new to AMSG. I guarantee you go back and look at the FFG rules. That was the same way with them.
But it's the enforcement of it. The TOs are supposed to enforce it.
Sure. But that's always been there. I don't think this, I could be wrong, and we don't know, right? We weren't there. We don't know what happened with this scenario. I have to believe that something else had to happen to be DQ'd. Or something happened for that first to even come up as a problem, right? I'm guessing it came up as a problem in the game. One of the players raised
Judge
as
call
an issue.
maybe.
Judge call. But why was that unit not identifiable? I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I can't imagine that it was because of the arms that were on there. It
No,
had to.
I
It
use the arm.
had to.
I use the arms as an
Yeah,
example.
had to be something else of why that unit was not identifiable for the gameplay. And I don't think that's. I mean, that's not anything new. We know we got to bring the models we're so supposed to bring to a tournament. And again, it was enforced in this example. There was probably plenty others where there were proxies being used or different things being done, and it was not an issue, right? Because it was still the game could still be played.
I guess the only issue I could see is like if that spear squad got shot up and all that was left was the unit leader and that slinger, and then the opponent could get confused like, oh, that's a slinger squad. Like, no, that's a spear squad. I didn't take off that model instead of a spear one, because like getting DQ'd for that, I think that's unnecessary. I think a hard warning should have been enforced where you're just like, hey, you have until your next match to find a replacement for that, and then you can still play. If not, you'd be DQ'd. Because that should be a warning. I mean, obviously, you're right, Nick. We don't know what happened in the state of the game. It could have been like, hey, I thought that was a slinger because you took off the spear guys instead of the slinger guy. Um, but yeah, over one model, like if it didn't affect the game, I think it should have been a hard warning.
I just think going forward, players and TOs need to do better about enforcing this in competitive events. If you're at home and you want to run a mixture, go for it. And I'm not saying this out of like I'm gonna still do my own thing. No, seeing this incident and knowing what we know of, like I said, we don't know everything. We just know what was told. I am no longer going to be running my clone captains at competitive events as squad leaders. I'm going to go to the dumb guy who's pointing and looking the opposite way just because that is the rules going forward. And I just believe that all TOs and players need to start going with these rules because that's what's causing the issue. Like had this guy been playing these rules for 2 years and not it being the TO enforces it when they want. Because there's the other thing. Another thing that came up was during Luke Cook's game, and I was kind of bothered by it because the game came down to the sixth round, and people were like, "Yo, they're 15 minutes over. They didn't roll a die or nothing, so I guess we're just gonna go until Luke Cook wins." Like it was blatant in the chat, and Luke, and not only just Luke and the USA were getting bashed because people felt like the game should have been called at time. Ollie should have won, and that should have been it. But people felt like Luke was getting an unfair advantage by the game not being called. Once again, we don't know what's going on. We don't know the timing situation, but these galactic conquest rules are not being practiced, at least on the scope of things, to where they should be, and that
What?
is an issue.
But how far do you
Well, so
take that? Like,
well,
it's like
you know what's actually wait. You know what's really interesting about that is, and again, I'm speculating, but how they ran that final game was actually how the Galactic Conquest rules say to do it. They actually didn't even use their rules for for that, because if you look in the rules, it says they get to finish the turn. There's not a 15 minutes, but they didn't enforce that for the rounds because they probably realized we're going to have a major issue with getting the round started on time. I wonder if they actually invoked their rule for the championship, and that's why they didn't call it.
It's
which
just more
was
confusion when there shouldn't have
so
been.
I don't know the Luke Cook situation. Was it because they were on turn 6, then the time expired, but they get to finish the turn legally? Is that what you're talking about? Nick?
So yeah, and again, maybe I'm wrong,
I
but
thought it's a die roll. It's
no,
a die roll.
no, the
Correct
galactic.
time.
Well, the die roll adds round to the timer, but if we want to check the Galactic Conquest document, I believe the actual rule in the Galactic Conquest document is that when time is called, they finish the turn. They finish the whole turn, and it's not 15 minutes. They get to finish the turn.
Which I remember hearing something about that. But to go back to the modeling thing, like enforcement by TOs, how far can you take that, right? Because my opponent can see my Grievous not have his gun model on him and be like, hey, I didn't know you had the gun. You know what I mean? Like that should be cause for DQ.
That's why it's hard when hearing stuff third hand. I can't imagine it had anything to do with that because
Mhm.
Legion has always been about the cards. You have your cards, that is what you have in your army, and that's what's if they have any question of what your unit has, they can look at your cards and
Yeah.
that's what they have. That's why the cards are actually kind of important for that, right? Here's
Mhm.
what my unit has. I don't
So
think our
here,
models are supposed to be
uh,
armament correct.
And I agree with you, Nick. Like I hope they don't take it that far, and hopefully Rob has more in scoop on what happened down there, for the situation because it just seems so weird. Like I get DQ'd from one model, like can't I switch it out? Can I have a chance to switch it out? So yeah, what are you gonna say, Jose?
so looking at this, it says Swiss round times. Each Swiss round, Star Wars Legion, is a variable length, giving players a certain amount of time to complete their games. The EO should start the timer for a Swiss round after most players have found their table. Okay, so most players found their table
I
and
found it.
begun the setup.
I found it. I found it. Time. The round timer runs out. The players finish the current round of the game. After the end phase, players with visual players, blah, 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 blah. There's no 15 minutes. So that was, I recall this was a thing that they're enforcing everything in the Galactic Conquest except that.
So once again, it's
Because,
what they want to. They're doing what I said. They're enforcing what they want, which is still
because,
not proper play.
well, yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. So that's why I'm wondering, did they actually follow the document for the final game because there was no next round? I wonder if that's why they didn't call time.
So my just a quick and Jared chime in too. So what's the point of having a official competitive rule set for 2 years if it's only going to be followed here and there instead of not followed all the way? And should we going forward because of these confusion? This whole thing is what's drawing confusion in these certain aspects. Going forward, is it wrong to just say, "Hey, I don't care, JR, if you're running a competitive event with the world's invite on the line, you're gonna use the galactic rules to their fullest." Is that over? Is that too far? Because if it's not, what's the point of you running these things if people are just doing what they want? I'm a
So
TO. It doesn't matter. I call this.
so a good example is if we're talking about 2 years. Last year, I ran Shadow Collective, and they were all on clear base. And I messaged LJ personally to see if that was I could use that army legally, for LVO, and he chimed in and said yes, that's legally you could do that. I think what you had said originally, like talk to the head TO, get it through him, like hey, this is this, can I use this? And if he gives you the A-OK, get it in writing, guys, then you should be fine. I think that's the thing. It's because there's going to be little nitpicks here and there. The Grievous is a good example of a nitpick that you can clearly see that's Grievous, and he's going
But
to
then
have a
what are you gonna
gun.
do? What are you gonna do when you show up to a second event and you ask the TO, "Hey, I brought these. Is that cool?" And he's like, "No." Now you paid for a ticket, you paid for a flight, you paid for all
No,
this, and
you
now you
email
can't.
first. You email way ahead. Like if you have
Mm-hmm.
any concern that this may cause a problem, you do it way before you get the ticket, way before anything.
But you wouldn't feel like upset, like I can't. I got an okay at this event. I got an okay at LVO, but then I go
Sure,
to
but
the Texas Open and now I can't. Lone Star Open and now I can't go because one TO said I could, one TO said I can't. The rules are clear and simple. They should just be followed, so it's not an issue. Like
but
that's what it is.
that's the thing is that not every tournament has to run the Galactic tournament rules unless it's sponsored by AMG. So it's at your discretion. Do
It's
you want to?
AMG's invite though, so shouldn't it be?
Well, I mean, it's up to AMG to decide that, right? AMG gets to decide, like, hey, if you're going to do this invite, you have to play by our rules. I don't know if they enforced that last year or this year. Like, I don't know if they said, like, the invitations was weird in general. Like, they changed it midway of who can get the invitations. So I think this was a little bit of a mess, and I'm hoping it's going to clear up next year. But it's pretty much whatever tournament you go to, if it's AMG, like, enforce rules, know ahead of time, right?
Yeah, the reason why I'm on the side that it's okay for individual TOs to just to make these decisions on their own is because they're running all of this. These events that these TOs put on, these are not AMG supported events in that they are supplying any resources or anything to run these events. So if we have to rely on the community and individuals to put a lot of these things on, so yeah, they should be able to run it how they need to run it. And I say that also because we don't see like crazy things happening. They're running good events. They're not doing anything crazy out
I'm
of the
not saying they're bad
box.
events.
Yeah. So that's why it doesn't bother me that they're not doing the random
Like how many
the random
times?
timelines.
So you have to win an invite to go to Worlds. From my knowledge, to compete in Worlds, you have to win an invite. So how
Technically,
many
no.
events? How, okay, well, that aside, how many times did this kid, guy, man, woman, person, how many times did this person use that same exact format with whatever he's running across X amount of events and never had an issue? So he walks into Worlds and he's like, cool, it's never been an issue. And then the day he's playing the game, he's having fun. He's throwing dice. He's having a blast. It's the same thing that it's been, only to be DQ'd for something that he's done 20 other events with. That's not
Well,
fair.
yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
but then that
And it's
goes to
not consistent.
but it goes to we're speculating a little bit. I don't know if that's exactly what happened or what happened, right? Because generally, if you take your models out of the box and you build them with all the parts from the box, you should never really have a problem, right? If you
Yeah.
took them out of the box and built them, you should not have a problem. You got to get other things approved, clear bases, right? Get that approved. I'm bringing a Vader instead of this Vader. But then you're doing something different, right? But if you just build them out of the box, I don't see how you're going to have an issue. I don't know what happened with this particular player or what that issue was. Um, that's why I don't know. And I think this may be a real fringe case in
So
this scenario.
I don't, I mean, this is the first time that the conquest rules were used. I don't think you would have been able to play your guys, JR, because it was AMG judges,
Oh, I
AMG
agree.
everything,
I
and
agree.
it says on the bottom six players must always be miniatures must always be attached to an atomic mass games base or modeled with a base that is appropriate size and shape to the base supplied with the original. Your thin bases are small and
No,
thin. I
they're
mean,
the
I
same size. They're the same size as the
not thickness.
AMG. Yeah, they are. Like if you were to get one right now and then put it next to it, it should be fine. But
And
regardless if it wasn't fine or not, like I know full well that they have clear bases.
It's
So what I would have to
it's
do,
not.
you got to go down. You got to go down.
It's a little off.
Well, okay, I agree with you there. But like I'm saying is like if I were to take Shadow Collector to Worlds, I would still talk to the TO ahead of time, just like I did with LVO, because I've made a modification to my army. But it's it's just one of those things where, unfortunately, like since we don't know the story, if we're going to take it off of third party um, information, is this guy unfortunately is being made an example of. To unfortunately, if you've done some kind of modification, always talk to your TO first. And I would have guaranteed talk to a TO if I would have brought Shadow Collective because they're all on clear base. All my guys are starting to be on clear base. But I also agree with Nick on the 15-minute rule. I don't think people enforce it in the rounds because then the game would just go on forever. And you gotta crunch time, you gotta lunch time, you gotta be time to get out of that hall. And I think it's okay for the finals to enforce that last rule of it finished the round, in my
and
opinion.
I'm speculating. I'm speculating why it went long. I'm speculating because that would make sense if that was the reason. But did anyone know that that was the case? That would be a
It,
problem. Like no one
it
knew.
didn't feel like nobody knew because the comments, like I said, the
Well,
comments were
well,
very
maybe the players
negative.
knew. Maybe the players knew. The players might have known, possibly.
But yeah, like I'm talking about rounds. Like if you're going a 2 hour and 30-minute round, and then you're on the fifth round or the sixth turn, and you just barely start the sixth turn. Now the whole tournament has to wait for your game to
Yeah,
finish.
which is why they didn't follow their own document for
Yeah.
that reason.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really hoping AMG clears up a little bit of some things and clarifies a little bit some things for the next World Tournament. Because, like I said, this is relatively new for AMG, so they're still trying to get all the kinks out and everything, which is fine. But
They've
unfortunately,
had 2 years to get kinks out, man.
but it's a complicated game, right? It's not that simple, cut and dry. And unfortunately, some people have to be made example of, which is unfortunate because if it is the way the Ewok was just one model, I feel like that's a little much to get DQ'd from, but it is what it is at this point. So,
Well,
well, Go ahead. You got something?
Sorry for the tangent.
No, you're fine. It was a core tangent. It's something
I
we
thought it
need to
was a
talk
good
about.
conversation to
It-
have, in my opinion.
Just so you know, Jose, I think it's actually totally legal for you to use your clone commander as your core leader because they
I'm
come.
not.
No, you know why? Those packs came with core tokens, didn't they? Aren't they considered core?
I don't remember. I got them so
Yeah,
long ago. But my thing is,
they did because every one of those upgrade packs has a unit card and they have a core token of
Yeah, I
yeah.
thought that it was the specialist. The specialist pack could also be used as just a core unit. It's
Yeah.
a
my
legal core unit.
my thing is if that would have been me, I would have. I mean, I don't know if this guy packed up and went home, or if he did side events, or did anything else. I would assume if he didn't get completely kicked out, he did some stuff. But my thing is, like, I do that all the time. Like, I don't think JR's ever seen me play my phase ones without the Clone Commander mini. I don't think JR's ever seen me play, Anakin as Vader without using Anakin as Vader. But this kind of just opened my eyes to, like, I'm just gonna practice what the rules are, because that one day that I show up to an event, oh, Jose made top 8 and I get DQ'd for something like this, like, it's gut wrenching. I mean, even just having fun. Dude was throwing dice, having a good time at Worlds, and his day just possibly got ruined. Once again, not knowing the whole thing, I couldn't imagine, had I paid all this money to go to LVO, brought my cool minis, had a cool theme, and then I get DQ'd because I'm not running the clone captain in my phase one unit, but I'm using the mini. It can cause confusion. Like,
It
I'm
it
just not going to do it anymore.
it's good. No, it's actually good you're saying that because we've been meaning to talk to you about that. We're going to bring it up on the
I mean,
next
for
round.
fun games, Nick can't DQ me. Okay, he can't DQ me. But
Well,
wait,
what's
going forward,
Don't worry,
tournaments, I'm gonna bring
we're just
decent
going to intentionally draw. We're just going to draw next time we play. Okay.
Take it to time.
What's funny though is like there is model for advantage. Right now you can model droidicas for advantage, and I think that's a more interesting case of ruling on that one because of the way you build the models, which I hate modeling for advantage. That's why I like the silhouette. But no, I think it's good. It's so good.
I hate silhouettes.
No one was shooting my lightsaber with Grievous. It was like it was sticking out. Like how you can't shoot my Grievous. Like that was so unfair when that was happening.
That's unfair. You got a freaking emplacement trooper with a 10-story tall silhouette getting
everybody,
blown up behind a wall.
everybody's gonna build Grievous into a little ball, and you can't shoot him. Like, come on, there's gonna be bottle for a man. It did
R2's
solve
10
the
feet
issue.
taller.
So, but anyways, good conversation, guys. Thank you again for you guys joining me. Appreciate it. Nick, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Nick, for coming on. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Everybody else, hope you guys enjoyed our conversations, and hope to see you guys next time.